Introducing Instagram Teen Accounts, a new way to keep your teen safer as they grow, like making sure they always have their seatbelt on.
All right, buckle up. Good job.
New Instagram Teen Accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
I promise this is not a best of. This is actually an episode of the Weekly Scramble. My name is Chris Reavers. By my side is Mike Fratelloni with Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I have a question for you before we get to the heavy topics that we normally dissect on this show.
Yes.
This past Monday, yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
I think the week of the 4th of July has officially replaced the week between Christmas and New Year's in terms of nobody bleeping works.
No, well, the 4th was on a Tuesday, which threw off the weekend before.
True.
Right?
True.
That whole week was kind of like, if you had a cabin or a lake place, you could make a logical argument that you'd go up Saturday, like the 30th, and stay all the way till Sunday 2 days ago.
Sure.
I mean, that's why I did not do that. But if I did, that's what I would have done. Because did you do anything big for the, okay, let me ask this. Did you return your indigenous stolen land on the 4th of July?
I did not. The only thing so normally, as you well know, that's the week that we take a Reavers family expedition where I put them on a plane and then I drive somewhere.
Yeah.
Because last year we did Seattle and it was kind of fun because the All-Star game is there. So when we were watching the Home Run Derby last night, my boys like, oh, remember when we sat there? And
that's cool.
So that's kind of fun. But this was the first year in, I got to say, a long time that we didn't. We did some driving, but we didn't travel for
fun.
The 4th of July. And to be honest, it was kind of fun to be home for the actual 4th of July because we had not done that in years.
Yeah, I just want to be home. I've been out doing stuff. I've been home, but stuff's been going on. One of my daughters said, I haven't slept in my bed since June 3rd.
My God.
That's how long she's been away. I mean, that's over a month. She hasn't been at home for one night.
Yeah.
So on the 4th of July, I don't know if you know about this kerfuffle, this Ben and Jerry's tweet.
So I'm glad you're bringing this up. I know of the story. I haven't dove head first into the deep end of this particular pool.
I'm really surprised. You might not have been doing live shows with Joe. Have we been missing?
Literally, yesterday was the first live show I've been a part of in almost 3 weeks.
Okay. So I don't know how much they talked about this during
2.5 weeks.
During this last week. But Ben and Jerry's, this ice cream brand, put up this tweet on the 4th of July on Independence Day, and it states, the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Oh, my.
This 4th of July, let's commit to returning it. Right? That was their tweet that they sent out. In fact, it expands on that. It says, this 4th of July, it's high time we recognize that the U.S. exists on stolen indigenous land and commit to returning it. Learn more and take action now. And there's a Ben & Jerry's mini URL that takes you to, I'm sure, them saying you need to give back your land and stuff. So we know all of that stuff. We've heard that Ben & Jerry's story. We heard that people are saying, hey, your headquarters here in the upper northwest or whatever it is, or northeast, is on indigenous land. We'd like you to give it back, right? And they're, of course, not going to do that. But I took it to one step further.
Oh.
So I did a little bit of studying, and I realized that...
Because you've been going to the University of Garage Logic a lot longer than I have.
I've been studying, and I wanted to make an amateur link. So in 1978, Ben & Jerry's started, but in 2000, they sold to a little company called Unilever. Unilever is based out of Great Britain. Do you remember in 1776, we fought this little war against somebody? Mm-hmm. Do you remember who we fought?
Great Britain.
Great Britain. Mm-hmm. And on the 4th of July, we declared independence from Great Britain. And it just so happens that Ben and Jerry put that post up on the 4th of July. Do you think, Reavers, that it's possible that the people who own Unilever are pissed off that they lost the war in 1776 and in some seditious, conspiratorial undermining of our country said, let's start some kerfuffle here with this indigenous land stuff in the United States because we're sitting here in Britain and we don't care if the United States burns. And we're going to go ahead and win that war back and take what they think is rightfully theirs from 1776. I know it's a link, but I'm thinking, wait.
It's not bad.
It is not bad. And then I think to myself, it is one thing to buy products made in the United States, but I think it's another thing to buy products not only made in the United States, but owned by companies owned in the United States. So Ben & Jerry's, I don't have anything against Ben & Jerry's, although I think this was a moronic tweet. Maybe some people who don't, I'm not calling for a boycott personally, but if you were not to eat them, you're not hurting an American company. You're hurting a British company that obviously doesn't care. They're still pissed that they lost the war in 1776. Boom!
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
You're
That's
coming
decent.
out firing.
That's decent
Maybe
linkage.
we should only do a show every 3 weeks.
I just think, I don't know if that's not conspiracy or reality.
So when I first saw this story, the immediate thought came to mind is the same. And you and I are going to disagree with the link I'm about to make.
Okay, good.
Because I can't believe that these companies are not learning from the mistakes of the companies that have fallen before them.
It seems impossible, doesn't it?
And I just can't for the life of me think, how does someone not say we should not do that because that's going to eventually hurt our bottom line?
And this is the 4th of July. It's Independence Day, and we're going to put up a tweet that says everything that we have to give back America. You have to shut down America because all of this was indigenous land.
Whether you like it or not, your bottom line is directly affected by what a consumer chooses to or not to do on a daily basis, which includes buying ice cream. And this just in, there are options. Ben & Jerry's they don't own the marketplace. And the problem that I have with these companies continuing to do this, you go ahead. That's what makes this country great. You have the freedom to do it.
Burn your bridge.
But guess what? There are people out there who can say, well, all right, cool. I'm done buying your product. And that's going to happen.
I think we shouldn't say we're done buying their product. What we should say is give your headquarters back. Give your headquarters back.
Yeah, put your money where your mouth is.
If you put this up, go ahead and give your headquarters back.
And I predicted this next part of it. You're going to disagree with me a little bit, and I know that because I know you well. I said the same thing about the idiot Mr. Pillow months ago.
Yeah.
I said, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You are committing career suicide, and it is happening.
Yes.
As we learned today, where they're liquidating whatever. I can't believe. The thing is, every company has the right to have a mission statement, a belief system, to have hiring practices, to do all those things. Absolutely, they do. And you know what? Some of them are noteworthy causes. Some of them might be a little silly, but whatever. That's what they stand for. Good for them. But to then just proclaim so much of this stuff on social media for the rest, you don't realize that just shh.
Yeah, you don't have to say.
It doesn't have to come out loud. Don't say the quiet part out loud, is what I'm trying to say.
They could have done red, white, and blueberry as an ice cream thing for the 4th of July, and everyone would have said,
that's kind of cool.
I want to get some red, white, and blueberry. Instead, you stole this from this is indigenous land. Although I do know you will never, ever boycott Unilever. You know why?
I don't.
Because a little product named Jergens is made by Unilever, and the chances of you giving up your Jergens lotion are zero.
I'll be honest. Until you just mentioned it, I had never heard of this company before.
Yeah, Unilever is a conglomerate, right? They own all of these things.
Yeah.
What's interesting about Unilever, too, is that they allow every business unit that they buy to act on their own. So Ben & Jerry's did this on their own, and the Unilever people are saying, hey, Ben & Jerry's runs itself, right?
We just get certain percentage.
We just own it. We get the profits, right? But they run itself. But I'm sure there's some guy sitting in Britain right now at the Unilever offices saying, I wish they wouldn't have done that. I wish they wouldn't have done that because maybe, just maybe, there's a psychopath like Mike Fredoloni out there who will say, who owns Ben & Jerry's? Maybe we should, because, Unilever owns, a bunch of soaps, a bunch of, they
Right.
started as a margarine company. I mean, they own a bunch of stuff, right? And we could all just say, oh, all of these things are indigenous land. We'd like to have you give all of this back. Not to mention that it's owned by a British company that are colonialists. They took everybody's land, right? The British were all over. You couldn't even go to Tahiti without it being Britain, right? Everyone, that's why English is all over the world. Well, so that was my link that I've been thinking about for a very long time.
I can tell.
Thank you for letting me release that.
Absolutely.
Because it was a big deal. I've been fighting that. No one seems to mention the fact that, that we could actually say you are acting as a foreign agent trying to add. It's like, those Russian conspiracies where they're posting a bunch of stuff on the internet, making everybody confused about so is Ben and Jerry's. They're making all these Americans confused, thinking, do I need to give my land up to the indigenous people that were here 500 years before I was here?
Interesting.
Interesting though, yeah. What else is did you watch this quarterback thing yet? Did you watch that?
I haven't, but let me
Okay.
get to that in a second, because a company that neither of us are going to boycott is our friends at Harmony Spirits. And I got a great note from the folks at Harmony Spirits, and they wanted me to personally thank everybody that made it down for the weekend of the 4th. They had a great car show, and they also had live music. And if you haven't been down, you got to get down to Harmony Spirits. It's a great trip down to God's country in southern Minnesota. I've been there a couple of times. It is a neat tasting room, and they always have cool events. And this is the time of the year to make the trip down there. Larry and the boys are serving some great cocktails, including their world famous blackberry lemonade made with Harmony bourbon and blackberry mojito with Harmony vodka. New this summer is also called the Rocky with mango and rum. Also new are pina colada slushies, different flavors every week. You got to get down there. Harmony Spirits are the absolute best. If you aren't able to make it down, just go into your local liquor store, ask for the Harmony brand by name. Great people and handcrafted spirits that are made right here in the great state of Minnesota with some true diehard fans of the Weekly Scramble and, of course, Garage Logic. But I love those guys, and I'm so happy for them that I saw some of the photos online as well of the car show that they had over the 4th of July. What a cool Americana thing to go to a car show at a tasting room in the state of Minnesota.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. And so not only are they American made, but they're American owned.
Yes.
Right.
They're
And
not going to disparage our fair country.
No, they're probably not. I love them for that. Good for them. I do want to come up with an opposite word of boycott.
Okay.
So, you boycott something. What is the opposite? I'm going to call it girl-cott. That's where you go to Harmony, and we're going to girl-cott the crap out of that place. Everyone's going there. It's not a bad. I made a. You know what else I thought is a really cool thing to do too?
LOL.
I'm going to start female doctors. I'm going to call them doctresses because I think that will be really positive if I go in and say, hello, doctress.
Okay.
I mean, no one calls a doctor a doctress. That's kind of cool, isn't it?
Okay. I can get
I think
behind
that's
that.
the female version of a doc. Did you talk about this Miss Universe from...
I had proposed it to Joe. Joe, I know, has made a conscious decision to really, unless it's, affecting the kids. In fact, I have something to say about that. But he said, where am I supposed to go with this? With the transgender person that won Miss Venezuela? No, what was it?
Sweden, wasn't it? Or Norway.
Netherlands.
Miss Norway. Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah,
Netherlands.
yeah.
So I said, are you going to bring this up? Because I didn't know, should I read the story? And he said, what am I going to do with it? As in where am I supposed to go with it? So no, he didn't really discuss it, to which I also say, well, the fact that these people can't see the own irony of their own decision making is laughable to me. But again, what do I care? Do I personally give a damn that the person that won runner up to Miss Netherlands should have actually won? No, not really. I don't care.
You should.
Did it affect me?
No, but you should, because that poor girl has been trying for her life. She's just a beauty. I'm not taking anything away from this person who won.
Yep.
I'm not taking. It's just not. It's a competition for
I will
ladies.
say though, I do get outraged about things like Leah Thomas.
Yes.
That stuff makes my blood boil, because someone like Riley Gaines has worked her ass off since she was a kid to become a great competitive swimmer. And I'm a girl now. Well, no, you're not. No, you're not. So but that also has other tentacles to it. That should be.
Let's just make sure that every beer show, Weekly Scramble, has less than 10 minutes of transgender talk every show.
Perfect.
Okay. We're going to cut it. We're going to limit to 10 minutes because we want people to have a girl-cott, not a boycott.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. So I have an email I think this would be based upon our 10-year anniversary of the beer show that we did just a couple of weeks ago with our friends from Elevated Beer, Wine, and Spirits, and of course Bartley Bloom from Bent Brew Distillery. 2 notes really quick. The wonderful, what was the water called that had the
THC in it?
Thank you. What kind of drink would you refer to that as?
That was a seltzer with.
So it is technically a seltzer.
A seltzer or a soda. They were making just sodas with THC.
So we had a graduation party that weekend after we had those guys on, and it was a graduation party in the greater Chicago area for the daughter of my wife's best friend. And so I brought that stuff with us because I thought...
You brought THC-infused drinks with you to a graduation party?
Well, let me rephrase.
Okay.
Because there were going to be 20 other adult our age that we knew once the graduation party was over with, because we were staying there that night.
Yeah, okay.
It was going to be bonfire cleanup / party time.
Sure, okay.
And I thought, well, I'll bring this with.
Maybe someone wants it.
And just simply to say, hey, just try it, because
You're not
I'm not really gonna enjoy it. Yeah. And to the point where this person's significant other said, where is this place? I'm coming to Minnesota to get this.
Really?
That's how much they enjoyed it. So I forgot to send a note to Bartley, but I know Bartley listens to the show every week. They absolutely loved it.
My favorite thing about Bartley, he had that 20 milligram.
It was that one.
He had that one that had 20 milligrams, and then he found out that he couldn't have 20 milligrams.
So he had to get rid of it.
Not only did he have to get rid of it, he took a black Sharpie and went, and made it to 10 milligrams.
Oh, no.
So you're like, I'm pretty sure that's only a 10 milligram. The first one was a typo.
All right.
Yeah,
labeling error.
I sat those in my little fridge that is in my house, right? We have a beverage fridge.
Yep.
And then I thought, I wonder if my kids are going to say, oh, it's soda, because it just says, you don't really notice. And then I thought, well, maybe my kids are going to sleep real quiet tonight. So I'm like, go for it, kids. No. Oh, you're super tired because you just had 20 milligrams of Bartley's elixir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
And I also got this email from Scott, and it's I'm trying to figure out the product that it's come, but it's basically a garage beer. Literally, that's the label that just says garage beer, to which I'm thinking to myself, how did nobody come up with that?
It's so logical. In fact, it's garage logical, isn't it?
Do you get what I'm saying? It's straight out of Mike Frenelly's School of Beer Making.
Yeah.
It's 4%.
Perfect.
Light and refreshing.
Nice.
It's the definition of garage / lawn mowing beer.
That's a really good idea. And what's the picture of? Just a guy sitting in his garage?
The top of a garage with the logo underneath saying garage beer.
Oh.
Bingo.
Doesn't get
But how did someone with one of the bigger brands go, hey, I got an idea?
Yeah.
Can you imagine with mass marketing what that would have done?
Yeah, but Chris, in today's world, not everybody has a garage. And sometimes those garages sit on indigenous lands.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, so you have to make a beer for the people. Everybody. It needs to be incredibly inclusive.
Look at him bragging about his garage.
His garage, yep.
Oh.
Yep. That's where we're going.
Somebody also sent this in for you, Michael, that this is, I think, old. This came at the end of June, but we haven't been
we
haven't been on for a while.
Yeah.
But apparently this now expired rebate came with a $15 rebate slip came when you purchased a 15-pack of Bud Light.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding you.
That's free beer.
They were, and this rebate is, so this was only a short while run,
Sure.
which I'm sure 4th of July, they were trying to get people out there.
Yep.
But you called it.
Yeah.
You absolutely nailed it.
They have, it's kind of funny because I am relatively conservative. I don't care either way what anybody votes. None of that means anything to me. But Fox News has this story up where they said Bud Light falls out of the top 10 most liked beers in America.
Yep.
Right? And then you're like, wait. It was one of those stories you're like, wow, it went from the number one beer in America to number out of the top 10. And then you read the story and it just fell out of the top 10 of most liked beers.
Wow.
So doesn't mean anything about the sales volume. It's just people who said, oh, I like it. And it has roughly the same 42% of Americans say they like it, right? The same as it was before. But now other people like other beers more. So I'm like, well, that Fox News, don't do that to people.
That's misleading.
It's misleading. Don't do that, right?
Yep.
Have it be a real story. If it's a real story, but it's when I go back to, statistics can prove anything, right? And that's just, I hate when they do that, when they need to get a really hot label on something, a headline, where you're thinking, oh, there it is. Now that's what most of the world's only going to read is that. Do you speaking of like, I hate to talk about Twitter, but this Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk fight.
Yeah.
Is that actually going to happen?
I'm glad you brought this up because John Haidt and I had not even a disagreement because John and I don't disagree, but he mentioned something in his newscast today on the Garage Logic podcast in which this new format that he's developing with Meta that used to be called Facebook is now called Meta Stream or Meta something or other that's supposed to now compete with Twitter. And John had a story of, well, you know, a lot of people are leaving the platform of Twitter to go join this other new Twitch. I had two thoughts, which is I don't want any more social media.
Yeah, we don't need any more streams.
I'm good with what we had.
Yep.
And this isn't old man get off my lawn, and maybe it is. I don't care. I'm not. And of course they're gonna. I didn't do Instagram. I'm not doing any of that. I barely go on Facebook anymore. I go on Facebook once a day, and it's to post the GL show on the GL Facebook account. Nothing against it. People still love it. That's fine. But this whole thing now where we're supposed to pick a side. My God.
Yeah.
Do we really have to do that? Where now you're either a Zuckerberg guy or you're an Elon Musk guy.
Yeah.
Well, why?
Why?
Why am I supposed to pick a side?
Yeah, well,
I don't get that.
You have to. You know what we are? We're 4, 5, 9, and 11. Do you remember when we were kids? You had Channel 4, you had Channel 5, you had Channel 9, and you had 11. Every blue moon, you go up to like 23 because 23. If you really had that television that could catch that UHF stuff, you get 23 and then 29. That was a big deal when Fox came on.
Yep.
But I'm a 4, 5, 9, and 11 kind of guy, right? I want my Channel 4. I want my Channel 5. 9 was kind of the crazy channel, right? Because that had wrestling on it.
They were hip.
Yeah, they had something going on, and then of course
Arsenio Hall.
And Arsenio Hall, yeah. So I'm of that 4, 5, 9. I think I just named myself. That's what we should do instead of how people say, "Oh, I'm from 651," like the area code.
Yep.
They should pick like, "Oh, I'm from 4, 5, 9, and 11." Oh, you're that old that when you only had 4 television stations. I'm sure Channel 2 was there too, but I don't count that one. 4, 5, 9, and 11. That's all. Okay. That's a good way to put it.
Being
We should make that shirt.
Is exhausting.
I'm going to make that shirt for the GL State Fair booth. I'm a 4, 5, 9, and 11 kind of guy.
Yeah, we could do that. Just kind of simplify things.
Yes, make it easy. I liked it when I was a 4, 5, 9, and 11. Beautiful.
But
did you watch that?
I guess the reason I'm saying that so much of this is exhausting is we see, all the celebrity types. Well, I'm officially done with blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, with Twitter.
Okay, first of all, no one gives a damn that you're done with whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe 2 people are. But otherwise, I'm not going to make a decision on using a social media device based upon what some 2-bit actor or activist is saying about this given entity. I don't care.
Yeah, and I too, I was at a funeral yesterday.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sad story.
I'm so sorry.
A horrible, young, beautiful 44-year-old girl died. And at the funeral, someone came up to me, this girl, and she said, "Hey, I had sent you this message via Facebook, and you never got back to me." And she was totally pleasant about it. She wasn't mad. And I said, "I'm so sorry. I haven't looked at Facebook. If you send me a message that way, I would have no concept of seeing where I'd even get that message." And she looked at me like, "What?" And I said, "Well, the company runs our Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. I have no idea what's on there. I don't post anything on there, and I don't want to post. But what I find precious is when people go ahead and say they tweet something like this, Reavers, I'm never going to use this platform again.
Right.
I just wanted to let everybody know." It's like, do you see the irony of using the platform one more time?
Announce you're being done with the
couldn't you just
platform.
go ahead and just not tweet and then have people say, "Wait, what happened to that person?"
The same thing happened to me a few months ago, where it's someone that I'm friends with, but don't maybe see once every 3 months or so, right, in person. And we were at an event together, and they came up and said, "Oh, yeah." Something came up in conversation. He said, "Well, yeah, I sent that to you." I forget if it was either Facebook or a Twitter message. "Yeah, I sent that to you. How come I didn't hear you talk about it on the show?" And I said, "Person, you have my cell phone number.
Yeah.
Why are you sending me?" Because I never. The only reason I'll see a Twitter message is because that's how oftentimes I'll try to reach out to a potential guest for the show.
Yeah.
Facebook message. First of all, I'm on Facebook for 35 seconds a day.
Sure.
And I'm not spending a second more of that to go look at Facebook Messenger because I don't care.
Yeah.
But I thought, you have my cell phone number.
just call me.
Just
Just
call me
on the phone.
or send it to me.
That's what I said to this person. I'm like, if you really need me, just call me on the cell phone.
And the other part that I was going to get to was, I had a bit of an absence from doing live shows. I was in last week during the holiday week to put best ofs together in the mayor's absence, but it was kind of nice to just kind of unplug for a little bit, not have to worry about, the spiraling crime and everything like that. But last Saturday night, and I made sure I wrote this down because I wanted to bring this up with you. We always need reminders about,
Yeah.
it's not really that bad, is it? And it was, our team was playing in a tournament in my city of Jordan, Minnesota, at the Mini Met, one of the greatest town baseball parks in the entire state. And we were the earlier game, and a lot of the Jordan parents have to volunteer at certain events because that's how you waive some of the fees associated with your kids playing baseball. It's a great set because
you got to work a few hours.
Hey, just work the concession stand for a game, and it's a win-win for everybody, right?
And then you get to meet some people. And
Correct.
Yeah.
So Saturday night, the Jordan baseball team was playing their game. Hometown, great atmosphere, huge crowd, and all the parents were enjoying $1 beer day.
Ooh.
and basically like taking admission and things like that. And kids are running around and having fun. And I'm thinking, you know what? We need more of this.
Yeah, life's good.
This is what we need more of. And they're going to have fireworks later in the day and things. And I just thought, okay, because I remember I looked at my wife and I said, this is a kind of a cool reminder. And I remember she said, well, I'm going home. And I said, are you going to be? And it was probably 9:30.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 o'clock. It was just
barely getting dark.
Just barely getting dark. And she said, well, I want to head home, which is not even 2 miles from our house, right?
Yeah.
And I said, are you going to be the mom that interrupts this on a Saturday night in the summer? And she just went, oh, you got me.
Yeah.
And I thought, are you going to be the mom that's going to end this on a Saturday? And she just, you know what? You're right. So we stayed for another 10 minutes. And then we
left.
But the point was, but I just thought we need those little tiny reminders of like, oh, yeah, it's not as bad as we want to think it is at times. So anyway, that
makes me feel good. I had one of those experiences on the 4th too, where I'm like, life can be pretty darn great.
Yep.
Right? We're very lucky that we have this. We're on this indigenous land. It's a beautiful spot
that we shouldn't give back. Right?
You did say something. I listened to yesterday's show, or maybe it was the day before's Garage Logic. It was a best of. Was yesterday's a best of?
No, yesterday was a live show.
Okay, so it must have been Friday's best
recording.
of.
Okay.
And I'm going to use the term adorable because it was adorable. You turned to Rookie and you said, hey, Rookie, can you tell us how you go about getting these best of segments? And
this was on yesterday's show.
It was on yesterday's show.
Yep.
And Rookie goes ahead and says something like, over the last 30 years, I peruse through the things and then I grab the best of CD and we play the best of CD. And I was like, yeah, Rookie, that means like you have 30 years of stuff to pick from.
Right.
Yet you grab CD number 7, the Garage Logic Season 7 Best Of, and you push it in, and that's it.
So I want people to know something, and because this is my show, I can say this. I would not say this on Garage Logic because that's Joe's show, and I always am very respectful of that. But people need to understand that when you assemble a particular episode, how difficult it can be. And not difficult by... well, yeah, just pull some material. Well, that part is pretty easy because a lot of things are cataloged. The problem is the phone call you're going to get later in the day. Okay. Hey, Dip, why did you just throw? Let me guess. You just went and grabbed some random crap and put it together. And I thought, and I knew this going into last week, where I thought, well, I got to have a theme or I'm going to get a phone call. So that's when I thought, okay, well, it's going to be this particular CD. I want to pull and I said, I'm going to pull my favorite highlights from each CD.
Sure.
And that's kind of what I did. And so I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do for Friday? Yeah. I don't want a phone call.
Yeah.
Hey, I know I just randomly told you I'm going to take a day off, but how come? So it's there is a process.
Well, the problem is you have 30 years of greatness.
Yeah.
Well, do you know that November 3rd of 1997 is good? I mean, how would you know that?
When I started to work with these guys, I did start to make notes of, oh man, that'd be kind of cool to hear.
Yeah. Could you put like an A next to it so you could find it again in the computer catalog?
That was a really good segment. We should do that.
Okay.
So but Rookie's knowledge of obviously way far and away
weird memory of
blows me out of the water. So that's why I always have to kind of defer to him and why we're when we kicked off the 30-year anniversary, 30 years of GL on Monday, some of these things are I haven't heard them before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a few, and the first two that I played this week, I knew, but then they're still fun to listen to. But there's a bunch on here I have never heard of.
So yesterday was not a best of.
No.
So I started playing it thinking that it was going to be a best of, but it wasn't.
No.
Oh, then I got to go back and play it.
No,
So
yesterday
you-
we were back.
Yeah, but didn't you talk about, isn't that when you said to Rookie, like, how did you develop those best ofs?
Yes, because we kicked off
Each day.
This is a completely separate thing where we're kicking off 30 years of
Oh,
GL
okay.
within the confines of the Garage Logic
Got it. Okay,
podcast.
I'll need to go back and listen.
Yeah.
I listened to that very, very fantastic last interview with Vince Flynn.
I played that on the 4th of July.
You did,
Yeah.
and it was heartbreaking. It's
You
just
know what?
heartbreaking.
Here's the thing, though. That wasn't his last appearance.
It wasn't.
That
okay.
was an appearance from, I believe, 2009, before he even knew he was sick.
Okay, because I think, didn't he have an appearance where he talked about using Rush Limbaugh's jet to
Yes.
get down to serve it, which was cool, right?
yeah.
And I think that might have been after, and I don't know if you guys said it was his last appearance or if I just made that up, but it was just heartbreaking to hear such a vivacious.
Yeah.
Live, and Vince was a big dude, right?
Yeah.
Like not the kind of guy that you think would succumb to an illness, right?
No, he was
looked at him-
larger than life.
Yeah, he was Mitch Rapp,
Yep.
right? And it was just so. I just listened to it, and I had met him a handful of times. In fact, my buddy Eric happens to has the last name Rapp, and that's how he got Mitch Rapp, is from Eric's last name.
Shut up.
Yeah, they went to St. Thomas together. I mean, they were buddies. So
Shut
yep,
up.
Yep, it's pretty cool.
I
So,
did not know that.
Yeah, so and Joe knows Eric Rapp. I mean, everybody in town, St. Paul, everybody knows the Rapps, and so it's just a cool thing. But it just was heartbreaking to hear another
I know.
like young guy dead. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I've gone to a few funerals in the last 2 weeks, and no one's older than 50. It's like, oh, that's tiring. You don't want to go to people's funerals when they're young. That's
No.
just the only nice thing is when you die young, a lot of people go to your funeral because they're still alive, right?
Good point.
So there's something. I mean,
That's a
you can't
silver
enjoy
lining.
it, but
Right.
it was this one that I went to yesterday. I know this is not funeral talk, but just this beautiful young woman died. 44 years old.
Sorry to hear
Two
that.
beautiful kids. One of her daughters looks identical to her. I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful kid, and it was packed solid.
Wow.
And you felt so good that, oh my God, how beautiful, what a great thing.
How many lives
How
that
many
particular
people that
person
knew her
touched.
and loved her, and
Yeah.
just it meant so much to people. But it was just, in fact, it was heartbreaking. Just looking at the little kids and thinking, oh, that's
I know.
a
Yep.
11, 13-year-old kid. That's tough. That's very tough.
That's rough.
Okay, wait. Let me get back to football.
Okay.
And we're not going to talk about
you were
Tom
gonna
Brady.
ask me about football. I'm
Did you
sorry.
watch that new show with Kirk Cousins starring in it? Kirk Cousins?
I'm mixed on whether or not I want to do this. And here's why.
Yeah. Okay.
I love football.
Yes.
Every Sunday, that's what you'll catch me in now that my boys are getting into it. That's what we do is we like to watch football.
Yeah.
It's crappy outside. Let's
What else
watch
you gonna do?
let's
Yeah.
watch some
Yeah.
football. I'm finding it harder and harder to try and support the tentacles that now I just I just want to watch the game.
Yeah.
I don't care about Patrick Mahomes and the new 60-acre
Looked cool,
multi-billion-dollar mansion
Didn't
that he
it
just
look cool?
built.
Yeah.
Fine, cool, good for you. You've earned it. I don't begrudge any of that. I don't care about Kirk Cousins and his personal life and how he deals with stress and the fact that he's got to say, I don't care. I don't. I
just
do
doesn't-
not care. Even if my absolute height of hand chewing, gotta follow the game, I don't think I would have cared back then.
Really?
Yeah.
I find it kind of like I'd like to know what Kirk does on a weekday.
And I guess maybe it's just the part of life I'm in right now where
Sure.
I come to work and all I'm thinking about is, okay, I've got to call at 3:00, and how am I going to get to the baseball field by 5?
Yep.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I
Yep.
get that. Like right now, it's just such a busy time
It's
of the
just
year
not
for me.
everything's not as
I
important.
can't put
Yeah.
everything all together. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, it's got a couple of interesting people. It's produced by Peyton Manning.
But Marcus Mariota, I didn't even know he was still playing.
I don't think right now he's even on a roster.
Oh, so okay. So that could be an interesting storyline because he was not a bad quarterback.
No, he was the second overall pick.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty impressive quarterback. All of a
Yeah.
sudden thinking to himself, crap, where am I going to live? What am I going to do? Who am I going to play for? How much am I going to get? I wish that I invented a reality show way back a long time ago. And believe it or not, it never got off. But I called it The Business of Paris.
Okay.
And it was the business of Paris Hilton. I don't need to have Paris Hilton tell us like, oh, I went to this bar and did this. I don't want her to be goofy. I want to know what her business side was.
Okay.
When someone said, hey, Paris, we're going to give you $380,000 to come to our bar tonight, play records for a little bit and then sign this poster and then do a 30-second photo shoot. I wanted to hear what that was like.
Okay.
What she actually got. And I think the behind the scenes of like Marcus Mariota saying, okay, I'm willing to accept a $4 million contract. Or, what is it? And have his wife say, why would you take that? And he's thinking to himself, honey, I might not get onto another team. I'm
Sure.
making that up. I have no idea if he's worth $50 million. I have no idea.
And just because I'm not interested doesn't mean that it won't be. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I know that live football is still always the top 10 television events of any given year.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, playoff games, whatever. I get it. I know why they're doing it. I'm just saying it does nothing for me.
I think they're trying to go after that Formula One thing that they had with F1, the ESPN Formula One television show, which elevated Formula One in the United States to a massive sport all of a sudden.
Sure.
And people who don't pay attention to Formula One, you don't get it yet, and you just won't get it until you start watching Formula One, and then you think, oh, I totally get it. I get what's going on.
Right.
So much so that is now my favorite sport. That's one I don't miss one race.
Have you, speaking of race, Kenny mentioned the race that took place in downtown Chicago, the NASCAR race. Did you see any of this?
I did not.
So they closed off some of the streets, and all the crime then was diverted to other streets. But they closed off a section of streets so that they could race on the city streets of downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, all right, well, I get it because it's based off of obviously the race that they had in LA at the Coliseum. NASCAR, because their ratings have slowly declined over the years. They're trying to find different things to bring in people like us. That might be sports fans.
Didn't it get a little fratty? Didn't it get a little bit of, what did the girl say about Bud Light? She said it was fratty and old and kind of moronic humor. Maybe we need to get her to help boost NASCAR. Yes.
Well, the only reason I'm bringing it up is there was a clip that made me absolutely bust a gut laughing. So picture, literally, race cars going by Grant Park, right? Everyone's been to downtown Chicago. So picture race cars going through the city streets, and they all got tangled up at one particular turn. And the caption was, when Minnesotans try to do a zipper merge.
Oh, God.
And I busted a gut laughing because obviously we can all relate. But I just thought that was pretty funny.
It is adorable how we zipper merge. Everybody gets into the one lane, and then we just all scream at the one guy who drives all the way down to the very end to be the left-handed zipper because everyone's waiting in the right. It's no other state does that.
And it's why I will absolutely drive 15 miles out of my way so I don't have to sit in congestion.
Just to avoid that.
If I can keep going, hell, I don't care. I'll go all the way down through Lonsdale to get home. I don't care.
As long as you're moving.
As long as I'm moving, that I'm peaceful.
Yeah.
I got a little extra time to listen to whatever I want to listen to, and anyway.
I get it.
Michael, thank you, sir.
And Reavers, you're the best.
Please do us a favor, if you can, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble. We would greatly appreciate it. And we thank you for your continued support of this show over the years. It means a lot more than you know. So for Mike Fratelloni, my name is Chris Reavers. We will talk to you again until next week. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, cheers.